Welcome, greetings. Welcome to week 4 of software engineering. Hope everyone's doing well. Okay, so quick review on what this particular week is going to encompass. This week we're going to focus on 4 key areas: programming best practices, version control with Git and GitHub, software project management fundamentals, and then kind of an overview, high level of Agile. Later on, we'll be doing a deep dive. This is kind of to introduce you. We've had some aspects of Agile that we've already talked about. This one hopefully can put it together a little more. Okay. Programming best practices, in moving to the next stage of things, we went requirements, we talked about design, and looking at now shifting a little bit more into the programming area. Here's some programming best practices: naming, functionality, style, documentation, reviews. Use meaningful variable names. We'll have some examples here in a second. Keep code modular and reusable. Don't try to do everything in at one time. Break it up into pieces. Documentation. Programmers do not like to document programs, but it's something that we need to put at the top of the list because it saves so much time when things are documented than when they're not. Reviews: perform regular code reviews and testing as part of the normal process. Not as something you do on an exception basis, but make reviewing part of the normal process of building your application. Just some examples real quick, some bad styles, A, S. You have no idea what these particular fields are there for. That's what we're saying here: no functional structure, no comments, no documentation. Here's a good style where we're actually using, names of fields and pieces that somewhat make sense, and you can see the flow as things go along. Good style: meaningful names, functional decomposition, guard clause, format output. There's some substance to this type of code writing than with the ABC. Okay, version control. Version control, this is more addressed to Git. Git is a version control software that you can use on your computer. GitHub is the cloud service that hosts the Git programs and adds collaboration features. Git can exist without GitHub, but GitHub can exist without Git. Git and GitHub are language agnostic, which means Git doesn't care that whether it's a C++ program or whether it's a Java program or whether it's JavaScript. It can keep track of the versions and what changes are made. So it's not dependent on the language that you're using. GitHub control, it tracks changes on source code with Git, collaborate with branches, commits all requests, uses Git for cloud-based repository hosting, enables continuous integration collaboration. So this basically this place that you can put your code or the key components that you want to keep track of so that everyone can be involved in making sure that they see the current version. That is basically one of the main functions of Git and GitHub. Software project management. The basic pieces of software project management. We're going to kind of review each one of these. Excuse me. Effort estimation, predict resources and time, scheduling, Gantt charts, risk management, and balance scope, costs, and scheduling. These are the 5 things that we want to keep track of as far as a project is concerned. Your project that you have assigned. Some of the things that you're going to be putting in here are these pieces as far as giving some semblance or a real plan as to how your particular project is going to go forth. Here's an example of a Gantt chart. Okay, this is just kind of an overview of what it looks like. Here are the tasks you have to do, your start date, your end date, and your duration. And this is basically a pictorial when things are going to happen, on what dates based on the start and end. Very good to get an overall picture of what's scheduled and when you think it's going to be completed. Gantt charts visual project management tool displays project schedule, helps track progress. Okay, the advantages of Gantt charts: easy to understand, visible, tracks overlapping and independent tasks, facilitates communication among team members, and helps identify delays and resource issues. Again, this is a project management tool to help keep track of and make sure that the project itself goes forward. Gantt chart provides a timeline view of the project task, ideal for tracking progress and managing deadlines. And, best suited for projects with well-defined activities. So, for something like, and we kind of talked about this when we talked about modeling, that with iterative or with agile, it may be difficult to put the activities down. Okay, but with something like waterfall, where you've planned everything out, that's ideal for a Gantt chart. Okay, you know exactly what you're going to do. Now the Gantt chart is basically laying out when you're going to do it. Okay, the date, start time, and the activity that you're going to be doing. When you're in the other type models, okay, where it's not planned out, you can still use Gantt, but it's going to be a little more difficult to get that semblance of something that's being applied. Critical path method overview. Another good method. I'm trying to make something that it's a diagramming method. Okay? That basically, when it's all said and done, we're not going to go into this in detail, but the key thing with the critical path is what activities are dependent. What is the longest path of activity dependency? Okay. So here, task A can't start. Task A has to be started before task B, which has to be started before task C, and task D. So we're looking for the longest path, okay, of dependent items or dependent requirement, dependent tasks that we have to do. With that, we know that gives us a finish date for the project. I can't finish until my longest dependent path is completed. Okay, so that's what the critical path diagram enables us to do. Here, CPM is a project scheduling technique used to identify the longest sequence of dependent tasks, determine the shortest possible project duration, focus, time management, and efficiency. Why CPM? Identifies task controlling project duration, tells us what we need to really look at because this is the longest path for the project.